All right, so today we're going to take a concept we all think we know, gravity, and we're going to turn it completely inside out. And no, I'm not talking about some sci-fi stuff like anti-gravity or wormholes. We're going to use a really simple thought experiment to unlock a perspective that honestly changes everything. It always starts with this, right? The same basic question. What is gravity? We all learned the answers in school, the textbook stuff. But what if those answers are kind of beside the point? What if we've been asking the wrong question about gravity this whole time? You see, the most profound insights, the real game changers, they don't usually come from the questions we ask out loud. They come from the assumptions that are hidden deep down beneath them. So let's start there, the question we don't ask. Our first step in this whole inversion thing is to figure out the assumption we're making about gravity without even realizing it. What are we really asking for? I mean, think about it. When you ask, what is gravity? Are you really looking for a dry textbook definition or that formula from physics class, F equals G something something? Probably not. You're probably not even looking for a lecture on space-time curvature. Our curiosity is pointing towards something much, much deeper. And this is it. Here's the hidden assumption. We treat gravity like it's a problem that needs to be solved, a force we need to calculate, or a curve in space-time we have to map out. But what if that whole way of looking at it, that entire frame, is just wrong? And that leads us to the unasked question. This is the pivot point, shifting from gravity as a problem to gravity as a creative constraint. This single change in perspective is what powers this entire thought experiment. It's the whole shebang. Okay, so a perpendicular view. To answer this new question, we're not going to look at the opposite of gravity, like anti-gravity. That's way too predictable. Instead, we're going to look at it from a totally different perpendicular angle. And this slide just illustrates that shift perfectly. Our normal view is that gravity is a unifier. It pulls things together. Simple. But the perpendicular view is that it's actually an engine of separation and organization. It creates the very concept of up and down, of a planet versus a star, a surface versus a core. It uses this illusion of unification to actually create all this incredible differentiation. Now let's follow this train of thought. Let's see where it leads. The real power of this perspective, it just explodes when we strip away all the complicated physics and just look at gravity's most fundamental, simple rule. I mean, really think about it. Every single particle in the entire universe must obey gravity. Perfectly. Instantly. Without any exceptions. There's no negotiation. You can't appeal the decision. This makes gravity a completely unique and unbelievably powerful rule. So what do we call a basic structure that underlies an entire system? A framework, right? We use that term in software, in construction, even in philosophy. And you know what? It's the perfect word for what gravity really is. And this is the core insight. This is the big reveal. Gravity isn't a force that's acting on the system, it is the system. It's the universe's foundational operating system, version 0.0, the first and most perfect framework that made everything else that came after it possible. So, the fun in constraint. Now, you might be thinking, a rigid, inescapable rule, that sounds kind of limiting, maybe even boring. But what's so fascinating is that this ultimate constraint is actually the key that unlocks all complexity. This is where the fun really begins. Let's just walk through this amazing cascade. You start with one simple non-negotiable rule, gravity. From that one rule, structure emerges. You get stars, planets, galaxies. Okay, then, within that stable structure, complexity can arise, something like life. And from that complexity, brand new inversions can happen, like consciousness itself. So the magic of the universe, it isn't in chaos. It's actually in its elegant constraint. All of this incredible, mind-bending diversity that we see around us emerges from a single, impossibly simple rule that everything has to follow. So let's bring all these pieces together. We found the unasked question, we took a perpendicular view, and we identified this perfect framework. And it all leads to one final, powerful idea, the cosmic permission structure. So here it is, our new definition based on this entire inversion. Gravity isn't just a pull or a bend in space-time. It is the universal, non-negotiable framework for emergence. It's the software that runs the entire cosmos. And this is the real takeaway. It's not a force holding you down. It's the permission structure giving you a stable ground to stand on. Every creative act in the universe, from the birth of a star to the birth of an idea, happens because this framework is there, granting it permission to exist. We've just applied this whole inversion engine to gravity, but you can really use it on anything. Which, of course, brings the final question back to you. In your work, in your life, what's the question you didn't know you were asking?